Hello and welcome back to yet another ultralight fishing video. As the title of this video suggests, today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite lines that I've ever fished with. This is Phenix Iron Feather Braid. I recently did a video on Power Pro braid and I was talking about this one a little bit in that video, so I decided, you know what, let's follow it up and do this video because I love this line, and I'm going to talk about why I love this line, but more importantly, we're going to catch some fish. It's about 7:15 in the evening right now, so we've probably got 2 hours roughly to try to catch some fish before the sun goes down. So the more I ramble, the less time I have to fish, so let's get to it. We're just at a little pond here, no idea what to expect, but we're going to catch some fish. Let's get started. So before I make my first cast, this is the 5-pound variety. I wanted to actually get 3 or 4 pound because they do offer even smaller, but the 5-pound is what they had at the time when I picked it up, and it's been extremely good to me. Now I've got it on the Shimano Vanford 2000 size reel. It's actually a JDM reel, and it's got a shallow spool. Wonderful, wonderful reel. And then I'm using my 7'6" Phenix Elixir rod. Now every single time I do a video that talks a little bit about braided fishing line, I kind of talk about a lot of the same things. So I'll probably review all those things, but I'm not going to go like in crazy depth. Ultimately, the main reason I like this line is because it's extremely smooth and it casts so far. It just goes through those guides so quick. Even with a light lure, it really just moves through the guides. There we go. Well, I made an adjustment and I finally got a fish. Feels decent. Feels decent. Oh yeah. Nice little gill. There you go. Well, I switched down to a 1/64 ounce mule jig with a horsefly, and I'm fishing around all this shallow vegetation. I figured I better go with a slower rate of fall, something a little bit smaller. The workhorse jig definitely allows me to cover more water, but it was just getting bogged down in the grass, and then I just didn't seem like the fish wanted that little bit faster presentation, so I decided let's go the opposite route and really go for something slow moving. The other thing I did, it is so overgrown all around this pond, so I got in the water. I figured this is the best way to actually be able to cast around without dealing with all that stuff, and it feels really good to just wade in the water. So hopefully it pays off with some more fish. But that one thumped it right in a weed bed, so let's see if he's got any friends around here. I would like to think there's going to be more of those fish. Gotcha, another one. That one feels pretty good. Is this going to be a bluegill? What is this? Oh yeah, oh yeah, look at that. Look at that rod flex. That's a quality gill right there. It's a nice big male. I think that last one was probably a female, but look at that fish. Man, that is a beauty. That is a beauty. You know, it's funny, this is a 1/64 ounce jig, and I'm having no issues casting this. My goodness, did that one just absolutely took off. Having no issues getting it out there quite a ways. You know, 1/64 ounce mule jig isn't always super easy to cast, but with the right equipment and specifically the right line, it's not too hard. And this line is just, it just works really wonderful. This rod paired with the line, paired with the reel, is just such a great setup. Man, that's a really healthy bluegill. It is really, really fat. You're not gonna be able to tell just how thick and fat this fish is, but I'm telling you, this fish is very, very thick. It's been eaten up pretty darn good. And that thing absolutely took off with my horsefly. Being able to cast it out a little bit further than the next guy is a huge advantage when it comes to bank fishing. I've talked about that a lot in the past, and I'll talk about it again. Just being able to get really micro lures and micro presentations out there a long ways from bank and pressured bodies of water, just like this one. You know, there's numerous other people fishing here today. You know, this is just a public park, so it's gonna get a lot of people fishing here. And just doing things just a little bit different can help you out a lot. And that's where, you know, using a 5-pound braid is not something that a lot of people do, let alone using a really, really high quality braid. Oh, I missed one because I was dinking around. The other thing that's helping me is wading in the water. You know, a lot of people don't want to necessarily get wet, but in this case, it's giving me so much more water to fish just because I'm willing to do this. A lot of anglers are going to skip over a lot of this water just because they have no access. And that's where you just have to be willing to do some of this kind of stuff if you want to catch more fish than the next guy. There you go. Oh man, golly, do these fish just want to be huge. I don't know that any of them have been absolute, you know, giants by any means, but look at these fish go. They are fighting really good. They're great at turning sideways and really using their body. And that is another very respectable bluegill. You cannot complain about fish like this, my friends. There you go. Not a long fish, but a nice, fat, healthy fish. That's what you want to see. See you, buddy. Today I've got roughly 6 feet of leader material. This is, I want to say, 4-pound trilene sensation, I think. I usually like to use a copolymer, you know, leader. You can use fluoro, you can use mono. I use copolymer just because it's what I have. I just tend to like it a little bit better. Seems like I like it a little bit better than straight mono. I like it better than fluoro. I don't know, just works good for me, so that's what I just keep using. There we go. My goodness, did that take a long time since that last fish. I don't know what happened, if the fish are, their eyes are adjusting or what, but it's the first fish I've caught in a while. I had a big dry streak going there, and that one's not very big. I've had a lot of short strikes. They just wouldn't eat it. This fish kind of shows you why. There's probably a lot of smaller fish in the mix too. I've been pleased with the average size up until this point though. Pretty fish at the bare minimum. There's fish jumping, but they're way off the bank. Gotcha. That was such a little light bite. And the second I pinned him though, he just took off. What is this? This might be a pretty big one. Yeah, it's a quality one. That might be my best yet. Pretty similar to that big male earlier. That's probably my longest fish yet, not gonna lie. Thank goodness. Now I'm thinking I need to stay here. I was just getting ready to say that I was gonna leave. That's probably my best one yet. Very quality, healthy fish, beautiful colors. Sun's going down. Your boy's getting tired. We're having a good time though. See you, buddy. Well, the sun right behind my head right there is getting behind the clouds, and it is definitely going down. And you know, I haven't caught like a crazy amount of fish, and I certainly haven't caught any giants, but we've caught some really respectable bluegill, and it is a lot of fun. And I gotta say, I've been talking about it this whole video, but this line is just really, really good. You know, I honestly, I don't think I would have ever used it had it not been for you guys. A lot of you actually recommended this line, and that's why I ever tried it in the first place. So thank you for telling me about this wonderful line, because quite honestly, it's good. It's a really, really quality line, my friends. It's not cheap necessarily, but that's what I've found with braid in general is some of the best braids are a little bit pricey. At first it feels like a lot, but then when you do it, the reality is braid lasts a long time. So for me, it's like, I'd rather buy like a $25 spool of line that lasts a long time and is incredibly good to me than spend like 15 bucks on a spool of braid that gives me a lot of headaches on the water and it doesn't perform as well. Because the reality is, from a long-term standpoint, you're gonna get your money's worth when you spend a little bit more and get these quality lines. I don't always believe in spending more with fishing gear. There's a lot of fishing gear out there that is great for a budget. But with braid, I would say I've noticed a difference in the low-end stuff and the high-end stuff. Got you. Golly, he short struck it, and then either a different fish came in and ate it, or it's the same fish, but this fish is pretty nice, so I wouldn't think this one would have short struck it. Hard to say. He could have. Bluegill are feisty like that. There you go. He's a decent fish. All right, buddy. See you later. Just another tequila sunrise. That is, what is this? What is this? Is that a bass? That's a bass. I was just talking about the fact that I thought it was weird we didn't catch a random bass. Oh, dadgummit. That was dumb. I grabbed my line and was just trying to reach down there and grab him, and he shot that jig straight back at me. I'm lucky it didn't hit me in the face. Well, we can at least say we hooked a bass. Unfortunately, I did not hold it, so it doesn't technically count, but we brought it all the way to my feet, so that's good enough. It says on here that it's the smallest diameter of any braided line on the market by as much as 20%. The fact that they make that claim tells me that they must have something to back it up. I can't imagine that's necessarily 100% true, but it definitely does seem super thin. So I gotta say, if that's true, that might be the reason I like it so much. There's another short strike. Dadgummit. Got you. You ain't gonna short strike me, little bass. That's right, I just landed the dinky bass. I wasn't able to fully land the slightly respectable bass, but I landed this dink, so I'm pleased with that. Now we can technically say that we caught a bass today, and by golly is it a dandy. See ya, buddy.